like he's having Elon go through all of this stuff to like see where America's taxpayer dollars are going to, and like they're finding so much corruption, and I just wish that they would stop, because it's really like none of their business, and I enjoy paying my taxes to other countries, and I love that it goes into like other people's pockets instead of mine, and I just really love that. And I hate that he's deporting all of these people, because I also enjoy all of my tax dollars going to pay for all of their living, even though they came here illegally. And everything is like not going according to plan. Like he's like kept his word on everything he said. Like everything he said, he kept his word on. Like presidents aren't supposed to do that. This is the stupidest thing ever. I just want to understand what.
Hey, it's guess what, folks? He's doing everything that he said he was going to do, and the left doesn't like it. The left is just freaking the hell out, as well as the members of the Democrat Party up in Washington, D.C. Normal Democrats across this country, they're not freaking out like the Democrats in the House and the Senate are, those that you elected into positions. Now, I'm sure that what you just watched is comedy. It's satire. It has to be. Although the funny part about it is that there are people out there that are acting just like that woman is, that you saw in that clip. That's how batshit crazy this is. And it's all you can do is laugh at it. I mean, seriously, that's all you can do is laugh at it as we continue to expose what the Democrat Party up in Washington, D.C. has been doing with our money that we didn't know about. We, the people, our money, our taxpayer dollars, go into all kinds of BS that we never knew about, which is why they're so upset about Elon Musk. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, all right? And we're going to talk about the tariffs that are happening. As you know, the stock market is not taking too well to that. And we'll talk about that here in a moment. But anyhow, first, you had to replace your computer tonight. You chose to be here with me. And for that, I am forever grateful. I thank you very, very much. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the show, whether you're watching me tonight on X or Rumble or LinkedIn or Facebook. And then after the show is over, we upload it to our YouTube channel as well as DouglasDucote.com. So check both of them out. And you will find other videos and other things that are of interest that you don't see on any of the other platforms. So anyhow, so I want to start tonight talking about this judge that decided that he's going to control America. He's going to control what the Trump administration is doing. In other words, we don't need a president anymore. We just need federal district judges because they know better. And we're talking about U.S. District Judge James Bosenberg, who is interjecting himself into something that he has no right to do. All right. He is going to be in deep, deep shit. Trust me, it's coming. All right. But let's talk about this. Today, he grilled the Trump administration lawyers over whether they defied his court order blocking deportations under a wartime immigration law, a potential step towards holding the administration in contempt of court. At issue is the administration's use of the 1798 Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelan illegal alien members of the violent gang Tren de Agua. These are the ones that you remember took over the apartment complexes up in Aurora, Colorado with AK-47s and ran everybody else out. Yeah, those. They're also responsible for all types of other stuff, such as raping American women and children, murdering American women, men, and children, assaulting American women, men, and children, sex trafficking women and children brought across our southern border, and tons of drugs responsible for the deaths of thousands of Americans, drugs such as fentanyl and heroin. This judge is okay with that, as well as the far left liberals and many of the Democrats up in the House and the Senate. Judge Rosenberg pressed Deputy Assistant Attorney General Drew Ensign, who, by the way, I called for last week. The Trump administration should remove that son of a bitch because he's an idiot. All right? Never met the man, but I've been listening and I've been following this, and that's the last guy that we need representing anyone in this administration. He just doesn't have a set of fucking balls, all right? Period. He's just a laughing stock. And this judge is making a fool out of him, all right? Going on. He pressed him on why the government appeared to ignore an emergency injunction last month, halting those deportations. The administration has appealed the underlying case to the Supreme Court. But it seems that the Supreme Court is slow walking this. Now, why would they do that? Why would Justice Roberts come out and say that when we the people, started calling for impeaching this judge, and members of Congress on the Republican Party started stepping up saying we need to hold hearings and impeach this judge because this is bullshit? He doesn't have the right to tell the Trump administration what they can do under what acts that are erected by the, and in this case, the 1798 Aliens Enemy Act to deport these gang members. He doesn't fit in the Constitution to do this. And Roberts said, oh, look, there's a way to do this, but you don't do it by just impeaching it. So why did Roberts give a shit? Wait a minute, isn't he a conservative Republican on the Supreme Court? Is anybody else asking this question? Why in the hell would Roberts be saying anything? Well, let me help you with that. You see, when this judge was going through school to be an attorney, so was Roberts. And guess what? They were roommates together. That's right. They both went to college together. They were roommates going through law school and best of friends. You couldn't make this shit up if you tried. And seems the Supreme Court has had this for a week now, and they did nothing. There's no movement to shut this judge down and stop him from what he's doing. Moving on, Judge Rosenberg is weighing whether there is probable cause to move forward with contempt proceedings, a question that remained open after a tense exchange in court each time they go, to include today. The judge said he would issue a decision as early as next week on how to proceed if he finds grounds to hold the administration in contempt. During the hearing, Trump's attorney, the administration's attorney, Ensign, was repeatedly questioned about who in the Trump administration had information about these flights and when the 3 deportation flights left the U.S. for El Salvador. At least 261 of these gang members were deported that day, including more than 100 Venezuelan nationals who were subject to removal solely on the basis of the law temporarily blocked by the court. He repeatedly questioned the lawyer about his knowledge of the flights and whether any related material were classified, which could have triggered state secrets protections. Government lawyers have refused to share information in court about these flights and whether the plane or planes or gang members knowingly departed the U.S. after the judges ordered them not to do so, citing national security precautions. Another focus of today's hearing was timing, both when President Donald Trump signed the proclamation authorizing the use of the Alien Enemies Act, and when federal agents began loading these planes with the gang members. Judge Rosenberg noted that the Trump administration began loading the planes the morning of March 15th, he believes, hours before the flights left the U.S., so then it's not crazy to infer there was prior knowledge of the actions of my actions, he said, before these flights left the ground. The judge pressed the lawyer over the names, locations, and agencies of individuals who were giving this information that he said in his order, as well as internal conversations with other administration officials who may have been listening in to the court proceedings. Who did you tell about my order? Judge Rosenberg asked. Once the hearing was done, who did you tell? Ensign said he relayed the information to the Department of Homeland Security contacts and the State Department officials, among others. Then the judge said, I want the names and their jobs. The names of the individuals, which the judge then carefully transcribed onto a pad of paper as the attorney was giving it to him, interjecting at times to clarify the spelling to ask about their job titles. The hearings in the latest is a flurry of legal battles over the Trump administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act. It follows the judge's order requiring officials to explain why they failed to comply with his directive to return the flights around and whether they knowingly defied the court order. So I guess he's going to hold all these members of the Department of Homeland Security in contempt of court next week and try and put them in fucking jail. All right. I think that's where he's headed with this. Judge Rosenberg told both sides he would see them again next week for arguments on the plaintiff's preliminary injunction motion, which is set to happen next Tuesday. The hearing also marks the latest clash between Trump and that judge, whom the president has publicly denounced as an activist judge and called for his impeachment. So, I've said this many times over the past several years, and I'm going to say it again, all right? This time I'm going to say it a little slower so that far-left liberal judge and far-left liberal judges and Democrats in the House and the Senate are able to comprehend what I said. Here we go. We're going to be slow about this so you understand. Anyone, regardless of your political party or your job title in America, who supports gang members that are part of the cartels that have been labeled as such via the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI, especially those gang members that have been labeled now as part of a terrorist organization, are just as guilty as the gang members and terrorists themselves that raped American women and children, murdered American men, women, and children, assaulted American men, women, and children, sex trafficked into America, women, and children, and brought across our border drugs that killed thousands of American citizens. So in my mind, as a former law enforcement officer, Judge James Rosenberg should be labeled by the Department of Justice and the FBI as a domestic terrorist, arrested and charged as such. And that goes for any member of Congress that also supports domestic terrorists, foreign terrorists, and cartel gang members. Anyone who thinks it's okay for these subhuman Mongol pieces of snail shit to be trolling around this country, hurting us, killing people, raping people, is as guilty as they are. So that's right. You heard me correctly. Your Honor, you should be arrested and charged as a domestic terrorist. End of discussion. And that's my freedom of speech, what I feel about you, sir. Moving on. Questions for the House and Senate Democrats. You ready for this? What is fair about every country placing tariffs on American products? Every one of them. Every country on planet Earth that we do fair trade with, it's not fair trade. They put tariffs on our products that we have to pay for. Yet, we're not allowed to do the same to them. Fair trade is supposed to be fair. And what's been happening for too many years is Americans, us, me and you, get screwed by paying huge tariffs on our goods to sell in their countries. And in many of these countries, they won't even let, like for instance, in Japan, you can't buy a U.S. automobile over there because they won't allow it to go there. The right thing to do is don't put tariffs on our shit, and we won't do it to you. That's the right thing. Or if you charge a 20% tariff, then guess what? We're going to charge a 20% tariff on your shit coming over here. That's all Donald Trump's doing. It's a tax, folks. All right? It's a tax. And yet, the Democrats up in Washington, D.C. want you to believe that Trump is doing some horrible, horrible thing? Why can't the Democrats in D.C. get this? I'll tell you why. Because it's Donald Trump that suggested it, and not a Democrat president. If Donald Trump was a Democrat, every Democrat member of Congress that is right now going to microphones, and any microphone and any camera will go in their face, screaming at the top of their lungs how horrible Donald Trump is. If Donald Trump was a Democrat, or if any Democrat president had done what Trump's doing, basically saying either you don't put tariffs on our shit anymore, or we're going to put the same amount on yours, they'd be supporting that. They'd be 100% behind it because it's common fucking sense. If Trump himself found a cure for cancer tomorrow, think about this. He comes up and says, hey, you know what? What y'all didn't know for the last 4 years, besides fighting lawsuits, I've been down in my basement at Mar-a-Lago with a freaking little science lab that I put together, trying to come up with a cure for cancer, and I found it. Bam, here it is. The Dems would blame him for not finding it during his first term in office and say he's responsible for every cancer-related death over the past 8 years because of it. That's how stupid they are. If Trump was to walk on water like Jesus Christ did, the Democrats would come out and say, Trump can't swim. That's how stupid this is. They hate him. They despise him. Why? Because he is exposing them for what they are. The members of the House and Senate that are Democrats and a few Republicans are fucking parasites, sucking the life out of this country. Now, watch this.
You have said that we don't know the consequences short term, and the long term, you think President Trump is right. You think long term we're dead financially. Here is the other side of all this from Democrats. Roll it.
These tariffs are dumb. They are also cruel, and they are stupid.
What is this going to do to American families? It's going to clobber them. And why is he doing it? To reduce taxes on the billionaires.
What we're seeing with Trump is not America first, but what's going to be is America alone.
Hey, Senator, we sized it up for you. What do you think? What's the future hold?
Here's what I think. America is rich. We buy a lot of stuff. President Trump is saying that if you American business or you foreign businesses want to sell in America, then move your business here and hire American workers. That's a laudable goal, and I support it. It'll work long term. But as you mentioned, in the long term, we're dead. Short term matters. And the truth is, nobody knows what the impact of these tariffs are going to be, Bill. I listened to my friend on another network, Willie Geist, this morning, predict raging inflation. Now, I know Mr. Geist is smart and well-educated because he went to Vanderbilt, but that's just a wag. That's a wild-ass guess. China has huge trade barriers. They don't have inflation, they've got deflation. India has a lot of trade barriers. They don't have raging inflation. We'll know more in the next couple of months. If you want a surefire investment, go book as many rooms as you can at the Hay Adams Hotel across from the White House, because every foreign trade representative is going to be coming to America to meet with the Trump administration, try to negotiate. So it'll be 3 or 4 months before we know what the final tariffs are going to be. Last point, we're in uncharted waters. Tariffs are more art, in my opinion, than science. Tariffs are like whiskey. A little whiskey under the right circumstances can be refreshing. Too much whiskey under the wrong circumstances, and you end up drunk as a goat. We just don't know right now, but we'll know within the next 6 months. If it works, let's take a dozen. If it doesn't work, the president's going to have to recalibrate.
The other thing that's happening is you've got big decisions to make on Capitol Hill about the future of taxes in America, the spending plan, and that is going to go forward. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, was on that yesterday.
I would assume that this will not be in place in a month, 2 months, definitely not in the back half of the year. So I'm in the camp that this is the beginning of a big negotiation.
It actually was Carlos Gutierrez, former secretary, saying something similar to you. What I wanted to play was this. This is Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, on GOP unity and tax cuts.
I've been spending a substantial portion of my time up on the Hill with the House leaders, with the Senate leaders, and one of the most underreported stories in D.C. that I think is the remarkable unity that President Trump has gotten between the House and the Senate. We are moving ahead at a very brisk pace on this tax bill. I would expect the Senate to vote on it, possibly on their portion of the reconciliation instructions, maybe even this weekend.
So, do you think that that's possible? And would that give the market some measure of stability, thinking that that could actually go through and be solid?
Number one, Secretary Bessent is very capable. I'm glad he's running Treasury. Number two, we will vote on the resolution this weekend in the Senate. It will pass. Number three, the main economic issue in America was, is, and remains high prices. The only way to get those high prices down is to cut spending, which puts less stimulus into the economy. It's to get rid of a lot of these rules and regulations to lower the prices of goods and services. And it's to pass a reconciliation bill, redesign a tax code that looks like somebody designed it on purpose in a way that it will stimulate growth and wages. That's what we need to be concentrating on, and that's what we're doing in the Senate.
So here's what the president said about that. The Senate plan has my complete and total support. Likewise, the House is working along the same lines. Every Republican, House and Senate must unify. We need to pass it immediately. And now we know the Republicans in the House are up to 220 after this week's special election. Senator, thank you for your time. We'll keep an eye out for the wags along the trail.
It's common sense, okay? Let me dumb it down for you, liberals and Democrats. So let's use my state of Louisiana and the state of Florida, okay? Here in Louisiana, we export crawfish to Florida. And for the trucks to come across the Florida state line, they have to pay a tax, a tariff, 20%, to sell our crawfish in their state. Florida exports oranges, and they're allowed to come across into Louisiana to sell their oranges, and we don't put a tariff on them, and we don't tax them, which is how it should be. Because Florida shouldn't be putting a tariff or a tax on our goods to sell in their country, and we shouldn't be doing it to them. This is the exact same thing. I just dumbed it down for those that are too stupid to fucking realize it. And oh boy, there's a bunch of them out there, especially up in Washington, D.C., that are just, again, it doesn't matter what, if a Democrat president came up with this idea, oh my God, they would be 100% behind it, period. The fucking stock market goes batshit crazy today over something this damn simple. That's disappointing. That really is disappointing. And only because of the rhetoric that is coming out of the mouths of the Democrats in the House and the Senate. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's lies. It's not true. Because guess what's happening? When Donald Trump said, this isn't fair to the American people to be paying this tax on top of trying to sell our goods, either remove it or we're going to put a tax on your shit coming over here. Guess what he's managed to do by doing that? These countries now are flipping the fuck out and realizing they can't survive like this. Their businesses, because their country isn't as great as ours, they don't have the economy that ours has. They're not the richest like us. We're the richest country on planet Earth. They don't have anything compared to what we have. So for us to be putting a tariff on them and their products, they won't survive. So they're coming to Washington, D.C., as Senator Kennedy just explained, to try and figure out how to get out of this. And it's pretty damn simple. If you put a tariff on our goods, then it's only fair that we do it to your goods or stop doing it, period, which is how it should be in the first damn place. And then for a Democrat up there in the House to get up like you just watched and say, oh, he's only doing this for a tax cut for his billionaire friends, that doesn't even make any sense. He's been hitting the Hunter Biden crack pipe there's no merit behind that comment at all. None of this shit that the Democrats in Washington, D.C. are saying is factual. It's all lies. And their base is too fucking stupid to understand common damn sense. It's simple. It's not fair trade. That's all Donald Trump is doing. That's all he's saying. Why should we be taxed on our goods to sell in their country and we not do the same thing to them? I ain't had a single person yet be able to answer that question for me. Nope. They just spin a bunch of bullshit about shit that they don't know anything. It doesn't, you don't have to be an economist to figure this shit out. You don't have to have a fucking PhD in economics to figure this out. I just dumbed it down for you by the crawfish and the oranges between Louisiana and Florida. Period. Fucking idiots up in Washington, D.C., I swear. Former Biden campaign aide, Ashley Allison, you might remember her, said yesterday that she felt lied to while discussing revelations from a new book about the 2024 presidential campaign, specifically former Biden White House Chief of Staff Ron Klein, revealing that the former president was exhausted and out of it during preparations for the June debate. Do you feel lied to? CNN host Abby Phillip asked Allison, who worked on the Biden-Harris 2020 campaign. Allison said, yes, I think I hadn't been around the president before. I think I hadn't been around the president before the debate, and I worked for Joe Biden. And if people around him knew that he was not capable, it was unacceptable to me that they allowed him to go onto that stage and continue being president. I deserve better as a voter, not even as a Democrat. As a voter, as an American. Klein told author Chris Whipple that former President Biden was fatigued, befuddled, and disengaged during debate preparation. According to this book, as reported by the Guardian, he also told Whipple that he was startled by Biden's exhaustion and said the former president seemed just out of it. And of course, we all saw that when he took to the stage. Turning to The View co-host Anna Navarro for her reaction to this comment, Philip said, Anna, I know that Joe Biden is your friend, but this is the excerpt. The part about the pool, he went off in the middle of the debate prep to the pool in the area and took a nap. And that was before the biggest debate of his campaign. You all didn't even know that, did you? In the middle of prepping for that, the day of, he just wanders off into the fucking, I guess there was a pool there, where they're holding, I don't even remember where it was they were holding it at, in a hotel, conference room, or whatever, and there was a pool. Joe Biden went to the pool and took a fucking nap. That's not the governance of the country. So Joe Biden, maybe he has the best intentions. I'm sure that you believe that. But the right decision, it seems, pretty unequivocally, is that he should not have run for re-election. Navarro, a supporter of Biden, said that she had been texting with Klein, who reportedly told her that his remarks were taken out of context. She insisted that something happened to the former president in the days leading up to the debate. I've known Joe Biden for over 25 years. Certainly, the Joe Biden today is not the Joe Biden of 5 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, or 25 years ago. It's not. But also, I will tell you, and I think that comes out also in the book that I read, something clearly happened that day, around those days, that is not the case the day after. I saw Joe Biden 24 hours after that debate here in New York. He was a completely different person, Navarro said. I saw Joe Biden when he came to The View after he dropped out. he was a completely different person than what we saw in the debate. So I want to know what happened around those days. I don't know. And can I tell you something? I don't care, because I want to talk about the future and how we fight Donald Trump and how we get rid of Donald Trump, she said. Republican strategist Sir Michael Shilton referred to it as a cover-up. Allison echoed her earlier point, saying, "What we are hearing right now is unacceptable to me, and I'm a Democrat." That night of the debate was terrifying for many, many. It was scary. It hurt my heart. But it was clear that that might not have been the first time. And I find that it's unacceptable. I would find it unacceptable even if it was Trump's administration that did this, or the Obama administration, or the Bush administration. It doesn't matter. And of course, I don't know where Navarro was over the 4 years, but we all watched it. It wasn't just that debate. We watched his mental decline take place on the world stage, for crying out loud. But those staunch reporters or Joe Biden supporters are fucking brain dead and refuse to admit that he was mentally not all there.
Do you feel lied to?
Yeah, I do. I hadn't been around the president before that debate, and I worked for Joe Biden, and if the people around him knew that he was not capable, it is unacceptable to me that they allowed him to go onto that stage.
Look at that
I deserve
smirk on
better
her
as a
fucking
voter.
face.
Not even as a Democrat, as a voter and as an American. I do.
And I know that Joe Biden is a friend, but in this excerpt, the part about the pool, he went off, this is in the middle of debate prep, went off to the pool and he took a nap. And that was before the biggest debate of this campaign. That's not even the governance of the country. So Joe Biden, maybe he has the best intentions. I'm sure that you believe that. But the right decision, it seems pretty unequivocally, is that he should not have run for re-election.
Not only does she believe that, but she obviously paid no attention to the things coming out of his mouth for 4 years.
I'll tell you my experience, which is what I can talk about. I've known Joe Biden for over 25 years. Certainly, the Joe Biden today is not the Joe Biden of 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 25 years ago. It's not. But also, I will tell you, and I think that comes out also in the book and the excerpt that I read, something clearly happened that day, around those days.
Let me stop a second. Nothing happened that day, you dumbwit. It happened for several years. We watched this guy deteriorate right in front of our face. Where were you at, Anna?
That was not the case the day after.
You know, again, it doesn't matter. You can put all the facts you want in front of these people, and they can't comprehend that. They can't accept the fact that their person, their candidate, was mentally unfit to be president of the United States. And then they blamed everything they could possibly blame on this huge red wave that took place, instead of realizing that all their talking points didn't work. They were a failure with their talking points. They did not resonate with the American voter. The American voter saw through all the lies and the deception and went out and went, we're done watching this shit show that the Democrat Party has been rolling out in front of us. And they voted overwhelmingly to the Electoral College, the popular vote, took back the Senate and the House, kept it. And now we're building on it. We just built on it 2 days ago with the special election in Florida by 2. What do you think is going to happen come midterms? Well, Democrats are going to be out there telling you, oh, you wait and see what's going to happen in midterms. Oh, Democrats are going to take back the House and Senate. And then guess what? Trump's done. He's a lame duck. Except here's the problem, Democrats. You're still using the exact same talking points that you used during the election that caused Kamala Harris to fucking lose in a massive landslide. You're not changing anything. You're out there saying that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, that Donald Trump, his supporters, everybody on his team, anybody that wears a red MAGA hat, or Nazis, or skinheads, or racist, or bigots, that we're all horrible people, that we want to destroy the country, that we want to take away women's rights, we want to take away black people's rights, we want to hang black people by trees again. I mean, the shit that they're saying is insane. And they're doubling down on it. They've not changed a single talking point so far. And I'm all for that. Keep going. As a former Democrat, please, in fact, put Jasmine Crockett as your #1 ace in the hole and let that psycho bitch continue to spread those lips. Because she is a babbling fucking idiot. And so are the rest of the Democrats up in Washington, D.C. You're a bunch of lying, babbling idiots that are totally clueless on facts. And you just want to keep doubling down on the same shit that caused you to lose the election. I mean, how stupid can that be? That you think if I still use these same talking points that caused me to lose, maybe this time it'll be different. No. All it's done is more Democrats are leaving the Democrat Party going, I'm done with that shit. I don't want anything to do with those motherfuckers again. And they're either becoming an independent, or they're becoming a Republican, or they're just not going to fucking vote. Because they see what the Democrat Party has become, those that are up in Washington. And they don't like that. Now all the facts are coming out for the world to see. And, you know, for those of you on the left that still can't see it, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to tell you. You lost in a major fucking way because your party lied to you. They lied to you. The House Democrats and the Senate Democrats are pathological liars. And CNN and MSNBC suck that shit up and spit it right back out to you. And you believe it. Because you're too stupid to fucking do your own homework and realize that you're being lied to. So, at the rate they're going right now, if the Democrats do not change what they're doing up in Washington, D.C., and they continue on this path, in my lifetime, there will not be another Democrat House or Senate, or 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue for that matter. Because the majority of the American voter rejected your talking points in a massive fucking way. And it's like you're suffering from the same dementia that Joe was, because you can't see it. You don't realize how it sounds to the American voter what you're saying when a camera or a microphone is pointing in your face. You're too stupid to fucking realize that. So keep going. Fucking just keep rolling with the same talking points. Please don't change anything. And you're toast. All right? I can't wait for fucking midterms to get here to see how drastically Republicans add to the House and the Senate. Because at the rate these House and Senate Democrats are going, it's going to be another red landslide. Period. And that's a fact. President Donald Trump confirmed that multiple employees within the National Security Council have been fired today. Adding to National Security Advisor Mike Waltz's recent political woes that have snowballed since Democrats first slammed him over the March's Signal chat leak. Always, we're going to let go of people we don't like, or people we don't think can do the job, or people who have loyalties to someone else, Trump said from Air Force One when asked about reports of the NSC firings. Trump confirmed that NSC members have been fired, but remarked it was not many individuals. Trump added that he continues to trust his NSC team, remarking that they've done very well and had big success with the Houthis. Waltz, who previously served as a Florida congressman and as a decorated combat U.S. Army Green Beret, has come under fire from Democrats and critics since March, when the Atlantic magazine editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg published a first-hand account of getting added to a Signal group chat with top national security leaders, including Waltz, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and CIA Director John Ratcliffe, while they discuss strikes against Yemen terrorists. Trump and his administration have repeatedly defended the national security leader and criticism over the leak. Signal is an encrypted messaging app that operates similar to texting or making phone calls, but with additional security measures that help ensure communications are kept private to those included in the correspondence. The Atlantic report characterized the Trump administration as texting war plans regarding a planned strike on the Houthi rebels in Yemen. Trump administration has maintained, however, that no classified material was transmitted in the chat, with Trump repeatedly defending Waltz aimed the fallout. As the president has made very clear, Mike Waltz continues to be an important part of the national security team. Trump administration press secretary Caroline Leavitt told the media in brief remarks outside the White House press room on Monday afternoon. And this case has now been closed here at the White House as far as we are concerned. There have been steps made to ensure that something like this can obviously never happen again, she continued. And we're moving forward. And the president and Mike Waltz and his entire national security team have been working together very well. If you look at how much safer the United States of America is because of this leadership team. Here's the timeline, for those of you who don't know, of this entire BS mess. On March 24th, the Atlantic published a report that Goldberg was added to a Signal chat that claimed national security leaders were discussing war plans with one another. The following day, Trump tells NBC News he believes a staffer in Waltz's office was behind mistakenly adding the Atlantic editor-in-chief to the group chat. Democrat outrage over the Atlantic article mounts, including Senator Mark Warner of Virginia, the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, calling on Waltz and the Secretary of Defense Hexla to resign. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe joined an annual Senate Intelligence Committee hearing and report no classified material was shared in the chat and that the Signal chat was lawful. In fact, the CIA transition team for the outgoing administration downloaded the app for the new administration on all their devices. Then Waltz said, I take full responsibility for this. I built this group. It's embarrassing, but we're going to get to the bottom of it. On March 26, Politico reports anonymous sources found Trump was irritated with Waltz over the leak. While the president publicly defended Waltz as a very good man, The Atlantic publishes a follow-up story that included direct text from the Signal chat, but notably did not include the phrase war plans in its headline. Instead, characterized the text as attack plans. Administration officials slammed the Atlantic follow-up story as exposing a hoax against Donald Trump, which is all this is. Waltz also doubled down that the Signal message published in the Atlantic article did not include locations, nor sources and methods. No war plans. Lovett said Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency team would help investigate the Signal link because they know more about this technology shit with how all that works than probably anybody else there does. Now, on March 28th, Politico reports Trump did not want to fire Waltz and gave and say she's not going to fire him, according to anonymous sources reportedly familiar with the private discussions that took place. On March 30th, Goldberg joins NBC News' Kristen Welter and says Waltz claimed that the two had never met or spoken are simply not true. On March 31st, Levitt declares that Signal case is closed. She said that in the White House briefing, reiterating that Mike Waltz continues to be an important part of the national security team. End of the story. We're done with this. On April 1st, Washington Post reports that Waltz and National Security Council staff used Gmail to conduct government business. NSC spokesman Brian Hughes pushed back on the Washington Post report in a comment provided to the news media today, actually. This is the latest attempt to distract the American people from President Trump's successful national security agenda that's protecting our nation. Let me reiterate. NSA Waltz received emails and calendar invites from legacy contacts on his personal email and CC'd government accounts for any since January 20th to ensure compliance with records retention, and has never sent classified material over his personal email account or any unsecured platform. This is the latest attempt to distract the American people from all the success that this national security team is accomplishing. House Oversight Democrats open investigation into Waltz's use of Gmail. Then April 2nd, Politico reports that Waltz's office set up at least 20 different Signal group chats to coordinate with other officials. The NSC pushed back that Signal is allowed on government devices and is an app used by both the Biden and Trump administrations. Signal is an approved encrypted messaging app that any member of the National Security Council officials can use to send classified information over these channels. And anything else is false. The problem is somebody added a fucking reporter that, oh, by the way, is the most the most Trump derangement syndrome reporter that exists on planet Earth to the chat. It's all a setup, folks. It's all a setup. That's all this is. Some in NSC, like those in the media, in many areas across the federal government, are using the Signal app, and they've been using it for fucking years. There are federal agencies that automatically install the app on government devices, as was testified in a congressional hearing just last week. The outgoing CIA transition team for Biden downloaded this app on all their devices for them and their government computers. So you want to blame somebody for this app? Go look at them. They used it for 4 years. Using Signal to send unclassified information is appropriate, and these same facts have been reported multiple times in the last few days. All communications are reflections of a thorough dialogue of those comments to the effective implementation of the president's agenda. Signal is an approved encrypted app, and any claim that NSC officials are using it for anything that's not official or that's not allowed is absolutely false. Moving forward, on April 3rd, the New York Times reported activist Laura Loomer reportedly presented Trump with a list of National Security Council staff who are openly disloyal to the president. Not that they didn't already realize this, because the other members of the NSA have already told him, but they're going to point the blame at her now, and they're going to say that Trump listened to her. Because what happened next was that these NSA officials started their own investigation and made it known that we're going to investigate this. And the Trump administration said, good for you. Not with a security clearance and not as a member of our government. You're fired. And they were run out. Now, all that being said, I'm going to go on record once again and say this. I've repeated it many, many times. No government employee should use private cell phones, private iPads, private computers, or send emails via such that are government related. This is why you're all issued government approved devices and government approved emails. Stick to that and move on, because this is just bullshit. It really is total bullshit. And again, it doesn't matter what Donald Trump says, doesn't matter what he does, everything he does, no matter how good it is for the American people, no matter the fact that everything he ran on, he's accomplishing, they hate it. And they're going to try and do everything they can to discredit him, to humiliate him, and to try and change our minds come midterms. And it's not going to work. Try all you want. It's not going to work, because we know better. And now, thanks to Donald Trump and Elon Musk and the Doge, we now know why the Democrats are so pissed off this go around. Because they're being exposed for what they were doing with our tax dollars. And that is a fact. You had many places you could be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Again, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel, whether you're watching me on Rumble or X, formerly Twitter, or LinkedIn or Facebook. After tonight's show, I will upload it to my YouTube channel as well as DouglasDucote.com. Please go there, check all that out as well. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. You'll see other videos that you won't see on any of the other platforms. And at DouglasDucote.com, you will find videos that you won't see on any of these others as well, because they can't be put out on anything else but my private website. I will not be doing a show next Tuesday, just so everybody knows. I'm going to take a little vacation with my son, and we're going to get out of Dodge for a few days. I'll be back next Thursday. So I hope that you will join us. I hope that you will share my videos and my channel with your friends and family. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families in our country. May God bless the United States of America, and may God bless each and every one of you. Have a wonderful night, everyone.